river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run over me.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest. Today we have from Hopkinton, we have a wonderful author, Betsy Ellor. I said it right, Ellor. Mm-hmm. And she has written this great book called Heroic Care. 35 writers and authors show what it means to care. Welcome, Betsy. And this book has lots of stories about people who have helped others and what they've been through. We'll start from the beginning. What got you interested in writing this?
Well, a year ago, I moved to this area. I moved to Hopkinton from the North Shore, and a year ago it was during pandemic, so I was feeling very, isolated and marooned. It wasn't a great time to get connected to the creative community down here, and I was missing my creative friends on the North Shore, and I had been thinking about doing an anthology anyway for a while, so it was a good time because for a writer, it's a very social project because you're connecting with lots of different writers. So that kind of got me interested in it, and I think at that time I was just thinking a lot about care. I think everybody was thinking about what we care about, how to prioritize things. So that was where the theme came from, and I just put it out and started everything off.
This is, I think I probably told you already, but I had never seen a book just like this. This is pretty cool. And you're a first-time author?
Yep.
That's a pretty big step to take. And what you did is you got in contact, or they got in contact with you, the different people who wanted to share?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I sent out the call for submissions to, because it's my first anthology, I sent it out to people I know, and then I let them forward it to people they know and people they know. And I also put it out on some Facebook groups I'm a part of, some in-person groups, and some Twitter groups. So I kind of sent it just to people I was connected to. And it was pretty good. I got a lot of submissions, and they came from all over. They came from 4 different countries. There's one, from Italy, one from France, Canada, and the U.S., and then from 11 different states. So we got stuff from all over.
Now, have they seen the book where they're published?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's so cool.
Yeah, everybody's
how many in all? I can count them up. But
there are 35. So there are 43 pieces by 35 writers and artists.
And they all had a different story of how they were coping. I'm finding yours. Okay, Silence of Sound. What was that one?
So that is a story that I wrote the first draft of it a long time ago, and I had gone to a concert in Boston at a venue, and I was watching a bartender and the back barman interacting quietly with this incredibly loud environment, and they were kind of communicating with each other just visually, and I thought it was interesting. So I wrote this first draft of a love story of people connecting without ever hearing each other speak, and then how that could translate into as you move into your middle ages and you're in a relationship where everything is talking and to-do lists and stuff, just life is a never-ending onslaught of words and stuff, and then how they could reconnect going back into an environment where they can't speak. So that was where that idea came from.
To put that idea out there, you did it on Facebook? Was it Facebook, or what did you do to get the word out that you won?
For the anthology? Yeah, I use Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, mostly Facebook and Twitter.
Mostly Facebook and Twitter. Were you surprised at the amount of people that came? You didn't even know them.
Yeah, I really was, because I think, like I said, it spread out in ripples from people I knew, and so I guess when you know people, they know people who know people, so it went a lot further than I expected.
When you reached them and you put out the word, how did you word it to get their attention? Because it worked. How'd you do that?
I left it really open. One of the things I really like is variety, and so I a lot of times with anthologies, because I studied a bunch of them before I started, they have a very specific thing. I want stories about dragons set in a medieval time. It's a very specific a brief that you're writing to, but I wanted anything. So my brief was just show me what it means to care, and it could be any length, any genre. It could be art, comics. It could be any topic. So it could be lovers, parents, kids, grandkids, strangers, pets, anything.
Yeah.
So and and I kind of loved it. I think when I got all of them back together, then I started noticing a commonality between them, that there was this idea that it took an act of bravery to care about things, because it opens you to the possibility of joy, but also, you're really opening yourself to the possibility of getting hurt by whatever it is you care about. And so that's kind of where the idea of heroic care came from. I found the quote, which is on the cover, which is, "The simple act of caring is heroic," by Edward Albert.
Yeah.
And that helped me kind of pick, that became like the organizing thesis, but that came after I had all the submissions. So after that, I could kind of see, the submissions that didn't quite fit with the theme, and then kind of just call ones that were too similar to each other, or whatever.
Now, did you choose your cover?
I did.
She chose it. Heroic Care, 35 writers, that's a lot. You don't even know anybody. And artists show what it means to care. I mean, look at this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's big. I look in the libraries now. What is it called?
Graphic novels?
The graphicology?
Graphic novels, yeah. They, it's very, I love graphic novels. My son is 8, so we are definitely deep in that. I go to the library, and at the start of the summer, like, the graphic novel section at the Hopkinton Library was just decimated. Like, every single one was checked out, because kids love them, but because of him, I started reading, like, YA graphic novels, and now, like, adult ones, and sometimes, like, the visual storytelling with comics can be really powerful. It's not just, like, Superman. It's they say a lot of things, like, I'm not sure if it's the one you held up, but the Seasons of Mom, which is in there, kind of
Seasons of Moms.
Yeah, Seasons of Moms. It's like, tells the story of, like, a mom. Because of the visual, it can say so much in so few words, and it
was that yours, or should somebody?
That's I think it's by Celine May, if my memory serves right, and I think it'd be on the previous.
Celine May.
Yeah, so she's an artist. She lives in New York City.
That's great.
So yeah.
How can they get a copy of your book?
If you go to wordsunboundstudio.com, you can look it up there, and they'll have a link to purchase it. You can also see the trailer and a little video about all the different artists that are in it. And
right, don't forget, right here in the library.
Yeah,
right,
there's a copy in the library. There's also copies at Tatnuck booksellers.
Yeah, you've been to Tatnuck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good. And you were just up in Salem.
Yep. Yeah, we had an event just this past Friday at Salem Athenaeum, where 8 of the authors that are in the book read, along with myself. We talked about the book, and that was just a great event. It was also nice to, like, we all went out afterwards and got to hang out, because I knew most of them, at least as an acquaintance, but they didn't necessarily know each other, so it was nice to go and hang out. And I have another event coming up on the 19th of September at the Corner, is it called the Corner Spot in Ashland? It's a whole bunch of local authors. Yeah. And it'll be a whole afternoon, like, book fair.
Is it a bookstore?
Yeah, so it'll be pop-ups. There'll be a table for each author selling their books. And I saw the thing, because it's got rain, this is the rain date, September 19th, it's a Sunday. And I saw it when it was supposed to happen in August. It was on the day that it was like 100 degrees out, so they decided to postpone it. But it'll be nice. There'll be a whole bunch of local authors. You could buy the books, and then everybody will be doing, like, a 10-minute spiel about their book.
That's pretty neat. You might want to try, Hopedale. It's right up the street. Mm-hmm. Their library, Bancroft Library, they're known for having, at the most I've seen 3 authors in their events from downstairs. One of them is on here all the time, once a year. And they do a pretty nice job of it, so keep them in mind, too.
Okay, I will.
Now, again, we're talking with Betsy Ellor, and she is the author of Heroic Care. 35 writers and artists show what it means to care. And the quote from Edward Albert, "The simple act of caring is heroic." And it is. Look at all of the nurses and the doctors right now. I'm telling you, I don't know how they do it. First of all, they're going in maybe a bit afraid, and yet they've got to comfort the patient. That's a double whammy. Plus, down where the hurricane came in, I think they're running out of ICU spaces. That's heroic care.
Yeah.
It really is. There's another one she wrote, "Silence of Sound."
That's what you just asked me about. But I wrote another one called Walker, which is the last one in the collection, which is a fiction about, but also kind of inspired by real life experience. They're both fiction, but I used to walk dogs when I lived on the North Shore, like, not professionally. I just had some friends, so I would walk their dogs for them, and I got this idea, like, dog walkers typically have unsupervised access to the homes of the people that they walk the dogs for. So the premise was like, well, what if somebody took advantage of that to like make evil plans? And in this one, it's Care because she's doing her evil plans in the best interest of the dogs that she loves. So
that's cool. I've never heard it put that way. Doing evil plans. That's a pretty
evil
nice
plans
way to put
with
it.
like that good intent for her dogs.
Now you're a transplant, and you wrote Transplanted.
Mm-hmm.
You came. What's your history coming to Hollis up?
So I moved here a year ago from Beverly, Massachusetts, and then I was transplanted before that. I grew up in Michigan.
Yeah.
So, but I lived in like Beverly, Salem for about 20 years.
20 years, and you were born in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Born in Michigan, and you've got an 8-year-old son.
Mm-hmm.
Is that book still out, Captain Underpants?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
When it came out, my son, they thought it was great.
Mm-hmm.
But years later, I heard from a school principal that there were some parents, oh no, you can't have that.
There's a huge debate. It's, I love all books, but I used to volunteer at my son's library. I'm very involved in like kid library stuff. But there is a big debate about graphic novels, like yay or nay. Does it really count as reading? And I'm like, well, he gives us, at 7, he was reading like a Dog Man, which is like this thick.
Yeah.
And he can read the whole thing on his own and feel like he's reading a whole book because it doesn't actually have that many words per page. So, and it's not, he gets exhausted like reading just like pages and pages of text because he just doesn't have as much experience in reading. So personally, I think graphic novels are a fantastic like learning tool. And honestly, anything that makes a kid want another book is
You like
a win.
that?
Yeah. Honestly, like I have read a lot of the Captain Underpants, and it's a little toilet humor for my personal taste. But 6, 7, 8-year-old boys, like it's fine.
They don't care.
Whatever.
Anything to get them to read.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as it's not pornography. But
Yeah.
I couldn't see it even back then when he was. I get the joke, and it's got mostly boy humor, that type of thing. It's not nasty or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess there were a few parents who, oh no, we can't have that in our school. I'm like,
There'll always be somebody.
Really?
Yeah.
really? Are you selling this at? Let's see. You've done it at the. You've got. Have you got another show coming up? Did you say?
I have the event at. I have the event in Ashland. On September 19th, and then I do have one I'm supposed to be setting up with Tatnuck. I still don't have a date for that, but that will be on the website wordsunboundstudio.com when I have the date. I post everything there.
So that'll be your second appearance there, right?
No, I haven't been to Tatnuck yet.
Oh, okay, because they have a nice. Have you seen it in there?
Yeah, they have a nice space. We've gone back and forth. It's like there's just been conflicts and stuff.
I like it. Betsy's introduction to her book. Show us what it means to care, and that's what you did. You were brave enough to put it out there, and people just started coming at you. Did you have a favorite one?
No, and actually that was, like I said, this is my first anthology. I hugely underestimated how hard it is to like reject people.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was kind of nice when I had the thesis because there were certain ones I could cut just because they didn't work, like they didn't fit with the rest of the set. But yes, that was hard because I worked closely with all of the longer pieces, and so it's like at which point can you not work with it? Like, where is the line between like this is really good if I work with them a little bit, it can go in, and this one I'm gonna say no to. It's super hard. I think as a writer, it's hard to reject other writers, so.
Yeah.
That was very difficult, and I definitely couldn't pick a favorite. I think because they're all so different from each other.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah, I love it. What was the one that when I was reading that? Beth Ann Cook Cormel, Hannah in the Garden. Do you remember that one?
I do,
yeah. What is that about now?
It is the experience of a mom in a garden. I'd have to reread it to remember. Beth Ann is a great evocative storyteller, and I think it's one of those poems that I don't want to put words in her mouth because I think that it's one of those poems that you read it and you can really interpret it in a lot of different ways. Like it's one of those poems that everyone's going to experience differently.
Do you like poetry?
I do. I actually I have other editors on Words Unbound Studio, and which is the website I run, and I had to reach out for them for help. I love poetry, but I am not an expert. So I kind of, a lot of the submissions went through a process with more than just me looking at them. And the poetry was definitely one because...
Tell us about Words Unbound.
So Words Unbound, which is wordsunboundstudio.com, is, it's like a online forum. I like where anybody, I write articles and post them on there, but a lot of other people I know do as well. And we do book reviews, we do author interviews, we do like insightful articles, inspirational articles, just about the writing process. And
That's really cool.
Yeah.
You know Lisa Shea.
no, I don't.
She's pretty well known in this area. She's, oh my gosh, she's an author and an artist. She can write a book. She's one of those people, I understand. She's up all night. She would write a book in one night. I mean, okay.
Wow.
That's
Impressive.
a lot. She's got like stacks of them, but that's her. She can do it. And do you belong to a writer's group?
I do. I have a critique group that I'm a part of. That we call it ourselves the Carrot Cake Writers, which is a funny name, but we just all like carrot cake. And actually, Jim DeFilippi, who is in the book, he wrote Bus 10.
Okay.
He is like that, where we kind of joke like, oh, like it's been a week. How many books have you written? Because he like writes. I think he's got 37 books out or something.
Yeah.
Just one of those amazingly prolific people. But definitely, I mean, like I said, I did this as a collaborative, a way to collaborate even in isolation. I get a huge amount from my critique group. So yeah, I'm a big fan of them.
She has got a section, and I love it. Acknowledgements, and you get to meet the contributors.
Yeah.
Salem, Mass. And all these different places. This one's lived in Duluth, New York, Paris, outside San Francisco, Salem. You're Waltham, all over the lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good variety.
Yeah.
I think it makes for a good variety of stories too.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
because they're all coming from different places. And there's a portion, I would say it's probably a little more than a third, that's memoir, and the rest is fiction and other stuff. And so, like, the memoir, obviously, like, it's nice that you get people from all over because their memoirs come from a variety of backgrounds.
How can they get your book? Tell them again.
Check out wordsunboundstudio.com.
All these people that you never even knew before. Most all of them, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And were some of them in your writings group?
Yeah, there are a few that are in my writing group, so they, of course, like...
Well, that's good. That's good.
That's kind of where it starts, so they, there's a good showing of them there.
Are you going to do this again? Because you're great at it.
Thank you. I am. I get this question a lot. I'm probably going to try and do one every 2 years, so there won't be one this year, but I'll do it, like, next year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still choosing a theme. I'm thinking of either doing, like, bad dates. Seems to be like a popular topic of like a whole collection of different stories about bad dates, because I want to find a topic that can be fiction, memoir, and there's a few there's a couple like fantasy science fiction ones in this collection. I want to be able to have a topic broad enough for that, or
bad taste, that would be cute.
Bad dates, or like memories, something with memory and remembering stuff. It has to be like general enough.
Have you started it yet?
No, I haven't. So
this took you about a year, maybe? How long will it take you to do this?
Let's see. I put the calls for submissions out in like September, and it was published in April. But it was mostly done earlier than that. I just needed some more time. So it didn't take a huge amount of time. I'd say like in that window, it was more hours than I expected.
Yeah.
A lot of that was just learning curve, though, like learning how to lay it out. I learned that it's a little more difficult. I was using Amazon Direct Publishing to print it, and it's a little more difficult to do that with graphics than just text. So there was some learning curve stuff that I think will be faster next time.
I think it's gone now, but there was online a place where the artists could do the self-publishing through. I'm not sure if it's still there or not. I can't think of the name of it, but they used to rave over it. Either it was, I can't believe it was free. But there was something about it, and then of course you could order as many books as you want. It's a great thing to self-publish.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it, a project like this is probably not going to be something that a traditional publisher would pick up. So it's nice, like it's something I wanted to do, and I can create it myself and then put it out there myself. And I think that's the great thing about the world today is that you can get your story out there. Like you don't need to go through traditional publishing if you have
exactly.
a story.
Do you ever go to schools and senior centers, that type of thing?
For like book tour?
For your book?
I haven't yet. No.
Really? I tell them all my authors. I say, you know what? I can see this as inspirational for the teen, high school, and college.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, and then of course the senior centers.
Mm-hmm.
It surprises some authors that they get there and they like sell all their books because they're interested. They read too.
Yeah.
No, really.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you going to? You've got one coming up at Tatnup. When is it going to be?
I don't know yet. I don't have the dates.
Okay, and then you've got one coming up
The one in Ashland is on September 19th.
in Ashland at that kind of a bookstore.
It's called the Corner Spot, which is an outdoor lot, like near. I actually don't know where it's near because I'm new to the area. But if you go on the Ashland Public Library, you can. They'll have a link there with like the details.
Have you been yet to the Book Lovers Gourmet in Webster? I may have asked you that before. You would
No.
love it.
Okay.
Deb Horan runs it, and she has artists, authors. It's a Book Lovers Gourmet. Terrific. And if you go online and you look for bookstores or book cafes in Massachusetts or all over New England, it's like we have ones from New Hampshire that came over. How much? Again, how did they get your copy of Heroic Care?
You can go on wordsunboundstudio.com, and then
That's
there'll be a
pretty
link
simple.
there. Yeah.
And if they want you to come and speak, is there a way that they could reach you?
Yes, there's a contact form on the website, so you can send me an email through that, and it is connected. It will get to me.
It must have been fun when you went to the Salem group that you went to. All the writers. Did any of these people show up that contributed to your book?
Yeah, there were 8 people that were reading, so 8 contributors were there, and then there were a couple more in the audience. But yeah, it was a nice turnout. Like the Salem Athenaeum, which is where it is a group of. It's a space for writers to write.
Yeah.
So the 30 or 40 people that were in the audience, they were all like writers and readers. So it was a good group.
Yeah.
We had a really good discussion afterwards. So.
Yeah, it's like a common bond.
Yeah.
Some writers, they have a writers group up in, lots of libraries, but up at Milford, I visited them one time. It's really nice. They don't criticize each other. They listen to someone read a little bit about what they're working on. And it's interesting because everybody has their own style.
Yeah.
Something I never would have even thought about. This person is just writing about it. There's a lot of sci-fi out there and fantasy. That's big.
Yeah, it's interesting. So my critique group that I mentioned before, we are very varied. Like there's one that writes romance, one that writes historical fiction, one that writes like YA fantasy, one that is writing a book about Vikings. Jim, who I told you about, who's written 37 books. A couple that do like crime noir, one's writing a middle grade. So it's nice because even though we all write different things, we all come at each other's work with a different idea. So I know, one of them always catches my technical glitches. Like if I say something, it's like, oh no, you explained the science of that backwards. It doesn't work that way. Or one of them was always like, this is too many words. You need to like be more straightforward. Yeah. So I think it really helps to be with a writing community that isn't all doing the same thing you are, because they come at it from different ways.
Yeah, when you go online, I look at writers' groups. A lot of them seem to be, as you say, focused on one genre. And that's okay. I think you've got a darn good idea. Can you start your own group? That would be about people the first one to say, I'm not writing yet. I concentrate on the people that I help. There's a woman that I'm helping right now, and she actually wrote her story, her book, but she needed somebody with some background in, literature, to I don't say the word edit, but proofread it. And she was amazed at punctuation she didn't understand.
Yes.
And I'm like, always say, these are correction suggestions. I'm not telling you what you have to do. It is your book. But here's some suggestions in what I would do. They don't, it's a wonderful book.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that makes a big difference, especially with if you're going to independently publish your book.
Yeah.
If you are not strong in grammar and punctuation, to pay for editorial services makes a lot of sense, because I feel like that's one of the things that bothers me when I read other independently published books is when there's a lot of grammatical errors and typos. And I get it, because when you read something, you read it so many times you can't see it at all.
Yeah.
But I will also share a story that I met with an editor at Candlewick for a middle grade book. This is like a couple years ago. I had an opportunity at a retreat I went to have her read it and sit down. And she was very kind, and it was a great meeting. She had some great feedback. But one of the things, she just looked at me, she's like, do you understand how to punctuate
She said that to
dialogue?
you?
Yeah, she's like, do you understand how punctuation works for dialogue? And I'm like, yes, but now I think no. And she's like, you really don't. So I had to go and look it up, and I was like, oh, I've been doing that wrong. And it's so, because it's like, I don't think I've studied the punctuation of like dialogue since high school, and I just assumed I knew what I was doing, and I didn't. And it wasn't bad. I was just using commas where I should have had periods and periods. And she wasn't upset about it, but it was, I will never get that wrong again. Let's say that, because I was so embarrassed.
You know, it reminds me when I was in college, and I majored in art, and the first class I went to was an elderly lady, I thought she was really okay, and she was teaching fundamentals of art, drawing. I thought, oh, this is cool. And she had, I think, a plant up on a chair, and she wanted us to draw this. I am not into, I don't know, every vein in the leaf of a plant. I didn't know if she wanted that. So I was just sort of abstracting it. You know, it's like, and she came over to me and she says, is there something wrong with your eyes? That's all. I never went back.
Oh.
I picked, because you can't say that to artists. Then what you could have said is, that's an interesting take on it, Jan.
Yeah.
Try it this way.
I have to say, she had a point. Like, I think if you're going to submit stuff to publishers, like, getting called out for poor punctuation is it's just something that you can, it's fixable, and it shouldn't be the thing that kind of overshadows the rest of it. And she was very nice, but it was definitely a lesson for me about, like, I need to go back to, like, double check these grammar rules.
That was a surprise. Yeah. Now, do you think your next book will be more, what do you call it again? The boxes, the pictures.
Graphic novel.
Yeah. Do you think that'll be?
I don't know. I have a graphic novel, a middle grade graphic novel that's out right now. I'm sending it out for traditional. I am not an illustrator, so it was a fun project. It's kind of a MacGyver girl in like these murder mysteries. So it's for middle grade. So it's kind of the 9 to 12 age. So it's a script. So I'm sending it out right now to agents and the publishers that I have access to, and then. If that doesn't go anywhere, I might self-publish it or not. I don't know. But I have to find an illustrator. So that's something I would love to do. That's out there.
It's coming, right?
Yeah. And then I have another adult novel that's a full novel of fiction of my own work.
Will you let me know?
Just
so
finished.
Get this on here. We're going to have to close it up, but we've been talking with Betsy Ellor, author of Heroic Care. 35 writers and authors show what it means to care. And boy, is this good. You can pick that up at
wordsunboundstudio.com.
And she knows what she's doing, too. You know, and she's got another book, well, actually, 1 or 2 in the fire now, waiting to come out. Let me know about them, okay?
I will, definitely.
Okay. Thank you for being with us.
Great, thank you.
All right. Hopefully see you next time.
Definitely.
Take care.
Heading out toward a dream. Tomorrow's even closer than it seems. Moving through the cloudless sky, heading out toward the moon. I am dancing to the lunar tune.